Good evening. It's time for our 8 o'clock story. This is our 110th evening of doing storybook readings. And once again, my name is Charlayne Thornton-Joe, and I started this on April 21st to try to spread a little joy during COVID. Now, as you can tell by the light, I'm recording this a little earlier than 8 o'clock since I have a meeting tonight, so I want to make sure I don't miss the storybook telling. And I want to thank last week's readers. Once again, we had some fabulous readers, and thank you to all the readers who come forward. Last week we had Paul Nursey, who is CEO and President of Destination Greater Victoria. We brought back our day 14th reader, which was Adam Olson, MLA for Saanich North and the Islands, and he read a book written by his mother. Then we had the Times columnist Carla Wilson as our Thursday reader. And on Friday, it was so exciting to have Fred Fox, brother of Terry Fox, for the 40th anniversary of Terry Fox's Marathon of Hope. And we've got some exciting readers this week coming up. I'm very excited about the book I'm going to read today. Now, for many of us, we were saddened to hear the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and I thought I would read a book about her. And it was difficult to find a book. Most of the bookstores were out, but I did find this one book called "We the People." The book is written by Doreen Rappaport and illustrated by Eric Velasquez, and I hope, sorry, I think I might have pronounced that wrong. But the book is quite long, so I've taken pieces of the book to tell the story, but won't be reading the full story because it would take far too long, and longer than I might have your attention for. So let's get started, and it's called "We the People." And on the front it says, "Women will have achieved true equality when men share with them the responsibility of bringing up the next generation." Ruth Objects: The Life of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, written by Doreen Rappaport, illustrated by Eric Velasquez. And once again, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Ruth's mother, Celia, wanted to go to college, but her family had only enough money to pay for their eldest son to attend. When Celia married, her husband made her stop working as a bookkeeper. He worried that people would think he couldn't support his family. Celia was determined that Ruth's life would be different. She taught Ruth to be independent, but not to snap back in anger, and to stick to what she believed was right. "My mother taught me to love learning, to care about people, and to work hard for whatever I wanted or believed in." And there you see her mother talking to Ruth as a child. Life in Brooklyn, New York offered many treats for Ruth, like bike riding, jumping rope, playing stoop ball, and zooming around on roller skates. But Ruth's teenage life was not carefree. Her beloved mother was dying. She passed away 2 days before Ruth graduated from high school. "My mother was the bravest and strongest person I have known." In 1950, many colleges accepted no women. Many limited the number of Jews, but Cornell University gave Ruth a full scholarship. Cornell, like most colleges then, had restrictive rules for women, but not for men. Women had to live on campus and be in their rooms by 10:30 p.m. They had to wear skirts at dinner. At the time, few women then objected. Women then made up less than 3% of all lawyers in the United States. Martin Ginsburg thought Ruth would make a great lawyer. He was going to be one too. Marty was as outgoing as Ruth was shy and quiet, but they shared common values, and their friendship grew into love. When Ruth graduated from college, they married. When Marty was called up for armed service, Ruth got a job with the government, and when she told her boss that she was going to have a baby, she was demoted and had to leave her job in the 9th month of her pregnancy. Marty always made me feel I was better than I thought I was, that I could accomplish whatever I sought. Ruth graduated first in her class and was accepted at Harvard Law School. Ruth's class had 9 women and 543 men. Harvard treated men and women differently too. There were no dormitories for women. Women couldn't eat in the faculty's club's main dining room. There was a ladies' dining room, and the old periodicals room was closed to women, and only one building where classes were held had a woman's bathroom. Women of Ruth's generation were encouraged to get married, stay home, and cook and clean, and care for their families. Men were supposed to earn the money. Ruth and Marty had different ideas. They shared household chores and childcare, and Marty took up cooking because Ruth was terrible at it. Marty got a job in New York, and Ruth transferred to Columbia Law School. There were only 12 women out of 280 in her class. Ruth tied for first place in her graduating class, but not one law firm interviewed her. Traditional law firms were just beginning to hire Jews, but to be a woman, a Jew, and a woman to boot, and a mother to boot, that combination was a little bit much. Judges hired the top law graduates to assist them as law clerks, but not one judge offered Ruth a clerkship. Finally, one of her professors persuaded Judge Edmund L. Palmieri, a judge who chose his clerks from Columbia, to hire her. I worked harder than any other law clerk. Sometimes I came in Saturdays, even Sundays, and brought work home. In 1963, Ruth began teaching law at Rutgers University in New Jersey. She was paid less than male professors. The dean explained to her that it was only fair to pay me modestly because my husband had a good job. Ruth became pregnant again, and she and Marty were joyful, but she didn't tell anyone at school. She wore loose clothing so that no one would notice. She didn't want to lose her job as she had 11 years before when she was pregnant with her daughter. Times were changing, though. Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans were protesting for equal treatment before the law. Women were meeting together, sharing their lives, and demanding equal rights. More women attended law school now, and Ruth's students asked her to teach a course on women and the law. Ruth found many laws that treated men and women differently. It was a time to challenge outmoded laws, and Ruth joined a lawsuit brought by women professors at Rutgers seeking equal pay with men, and the women won. Ruth and other lawyers at the Women's Right Project of the American Civil Liberties Union began challenging laws that treated men and women unequally. Some cases went all the way to the United States Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. On January 17, 1973, Ruth argued her first case before the 9 male justices of the Supreme Court. I felt a sense of empowerment because I knew so much more about the issue, than they did. The justices ruled 8-1 that the law was unconstitutional. Ruth and her team of lawyers celebrated their victory. Ruth believed that inequality harmed men as well as women. When Stephen Weisenfeld's wife died giving birth, he was self-employed. He wanted to care personally for his son and work only part-time. He needed money, so he applied for survivor's benefits based on his wife's payment of Social Security taxes, but he was turned down. It is not a woman's liberation. It is women's and men's liberation. Over the next few years, Ruth argued 6 gender cases before the Supreme Court and won 5 of them. In 1972, Ruth had been hired to teach at Columbia Law School. She found injustices there, too. 25 women housekeepers were laid off. Male janitors doing the same work were not let go. Women workers at Columbia had no medical coverage for childbirth. Their pay and pensions were lower than men's. She filed lawsuits to change this, and the women won. Ruth's reputation as a brilliant lawyer grew. In 1980, President Jimmy Carter appointed her a judge to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. Marty took a new job in Washington, D.C. to be with Ruth. In 1993, President Clinton appointed her to the United States Supreme Court. I pray that I may be all that my mother would have been had she lived in an age where women could aspire and achieve, and daughters are cherished as much as sons. Now there were 7 men and 2 women justices. Sandra Day O'Connor, the other woman on the court, welcomed Ruth. The 2 women didn't always agree on the answers to questions that came before the court, but they both believed that women deserve equal protection under the law. A case involving Virginia Military Institute came before the Supreme Court. This prestigious military school refused to accept women, insisting they were too weak to endure the school's rigorous physical training. The school also claimed that women could not tolerate how upperclassmen would treat them. Ruth believed that women should be able to pursue all opportunities if qualified. Excluding women violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Justice O'Connor agreed. So did 5 male justices. The school was told to accept women or close, and it accepted women. Lily Ledbetter was the first woman area manager in her factory. After 15 years of working, she learned she had been paid thousands of dollars less than the male managers. Lily objected and sued to get her back pay. The case reached the Supreme Court. Sometimes one must be forceful about saying how wrong the court decision is. On January 29, 2009, Lily watched President Barack Obama sign the Lily Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, which allowed workers to sue within 100 days of receiving any paycheck unequal to the paycheck of men doing the same job. Ruth framed a copy of the law to hang in her office. Marty, who had a successful career, took great joy in Ruth's work. Most nights, Marty had to telephone Ruth to leave work and come home to eat. After dinner, she went back to work. He supported her during her 2 bouts with cancer. In 2010, Marty faced cancer again. He had cancer the first time when attending law school. This time, Marty did not survive. In 2006, Sandra Day O'Connor retired. Ruth felt alone until 2009 when Sonia Sotomayor was appointed to the court. Elena Kagan followed in 2010. Yes, women are here to stay. And when I'm sometimes asked, when will there be enough women on the court? And I respond, when there are 9, people are shocked. But the Supreme Court has had 9 men for ever so long, and nobody ever raised a question about that. And that is the end of the book on Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And when I was trying to find this book, and I reached out to some friends if they had the book, a friend of mine, Maya, reminded me that this is a great story, and we should be proud and thank Ruth Bader Ginsburg for all the work she's done. But that we also have to recognize some women in Canadian Supreme Court. And I did want to acknowledge, when I did the research that Maya gave me, that Beverly McLaughlin was the 17th Chief Justice of Canada from 2000 to 2017. And she's the first woman to hold that position and the longest serving Chief Justice in Canadian history. And also that in 2004, Rosalie Abella was the first Jewish woman to sit on the Canadian Supreme Court bench. So we also have to recognize some of the Canadian women that paved the way for us. So I hope you learned a little bit something more about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Unfortunately, I couldn't read the whole book, but I enjoyed it immensely and learned a lot about Ruth. And for tomorrow, I'm happy to announce that our reader will be Corey Sidaway. She's the weekend anchor of Czech News. And then through the week, I will be announcing some of the other readers that are going to be joining us. So we hope you have a nice evening. Take care and stay safe. Bye-bye now.